Hello everyone on YouTube, how's everyone doing? So this is not going to be a usual type of vid. This is not your usual type of project or sword, I should say. I need to first start off by laying some ground rules. I've done a video like this before on a sword that I purchased from eBay, something that turned out to be fake. And right now it's the most viewed vid I have and the one with the most comments. So I expect the same things to occur again. So I want to lay some ground rules down. The first one is that, I appreciate everyone's opinion, so feel free to provide your opinion, but there's going to be no cursing and no insulting of anyone. Unless you have hard evidence, I want to keep this as a discussion. It could be a heated debate, or heated discussion, but up to a certain point. If I see that the discussion is going too far, it's very likely your comments will be deleted, and therefore you wasted your time. And possibly you might even get banned from the channel. Again, wasting your time or your opportunity to comment in the future. So let's try to, keep it honest, stick to a point, state facts, but let's keep it clean. That's one issue. Another issue is I need to explain to the Katana fanboys and fangirls that the term Katana, Wakizashi, tanto, the blades that they represent can be manufactured by anyone and from any country. It does not have to be manufactured solely in Japan to be called a wakizashi or tanto or katana. Anyone can make a katana and call it a katana. The term katana is a very general term, and there is no one that holds the patent to that design or that terminology. There are specific terms when describing a handmade or a specific Japanese-made sword. There's terms for that. And then it would be wrong to use those terms to describe a blade made outside of Japan or one made outside of the standards or requirements for that. So when you call a blade shaped like this a wakizashi, or if it was longer, a katana, there's nothing wrong with that. And there's no arguing that. That is the ground rule. You can make a katana any way you wish, but there are specific terms for those made in Japan meeting those specific requirements. Number two, a katana does not need to be made out of tamahagane. It can be made out of any steel. And making it out of tamahagane does not make it magical or special. There are actually better steels out there than tamahagane. So this sword here that's made out of, it's purportedly 1095 Damascus or 1095 folded steel, will function just as well as any other blade as long as the heat treat is done right and the steel is appropriate for the type of blade in use. It will perform just as well, and there are super steels that will perform better than tamahagane. I just want to clear out those types of comments. Okay. The last point I want to make is this video is not about purchasing a sword and getting what I paid for. That's not the point of this. The point of this video is also not about the performance of the sword. The discussion here is to educate folks as to what is real Sanmai or laminated steel and what is not. How to find a fake. How to determine if it's real or not. How to determine if it's fake just by looking at it and explaining what Sanmai really is. Also to share my experiences with a fraud who still sells blades which are not laminated, but he claims them to be laminated. That's the point of this video. If you want to talk about performance, you want to talk about what I paid for, that's a whole different video, whole different discussion. My belief is If you buy a sword on an auction site, if it's offered for $1 or $1,000, it doesn't matter. If they claim it to be laminated steel, it better be laminated steel. There has to be truth in advertising. And if the seller returns the money, that doesn't make it right. He will just take the blade and sell it to someone else. And someone who doesn't understand what is a real Sanmai. So allowing him to continue frauding the public is not acceptable. That's the point of this vid. So this started off a couple of years ago, maybe a little more than a couple of years ago, when I was interested in a laminated blade, laminated a sword. The seller on eBay, going under the name Katana1980, and he may have other names as well, and very likely he may change his name in the future. This guy was offering Sanmai Katana and tanto for $495 just under 3 years ago. Now, I did my due diligence and I asked for clarification and confirmation that the blade was really laminated steel, and he confirmed it. What he confirmed is that the blade would have a Damascus jacket, and the cutting edge would be unfolded 1095 steel. The jacket would be a softer steel, and the cutting edge a harder steel, one that would hold an edge longer. Hold on a second. Here's an example of a blade that I bought on eBay and from its seller from China that shows, if I can get it to focus, it shows Damascus on the outside and the cutting edge a harder steel. If I turn it over to the side, it might be a little easier to see. You can see it's almost built like a sandwich. The outer jacket would be the bread, a softer steel. The inside, the meat of the sandwich, the harder steel. What they do is they take 3 plates of steel, in this case Damascus, a harder steel and a Damascus. They lay them on top of each other in that order, and then they fuse them together. They hammer and fuse it together to make one piece. The purpose of doing this is not only for some people for aesthetic reasons, because they like it, like me, I like the appearance of it, but also what it provides the blade or the sword is a hard cutting edge and a soft, tough jacket. So now the blade, the sword, has the best of both worlds. It is soft and flexible and tough, yet the edge is hard and will hold an edge for a longer time. Make the whole blade hard, you lose the flexibility, it becomes brittle, it could shatter. So it gives you the best of both worlds. 2.5 years ago, I placed an order for Sanmai. Sanmai is pretty much the same thing, but the inside layer is made up of 2 different steels. The bottom half would be a harder steel, and the top half of the meat, if you will, be a very, very soft steel. So I guess I'd show you on this side. So inside would be a very soft steel, and the bottom half very hard steel, and then the jacket could be a soft steel as well. There's 3 types of steels, 4 different pieces that are fused together. That's what I was interested, that's what I was being offered, that's what was being offered on eBay, and that's what I bought. When I received it, the whole blade appeared to be Damascus. There was no actual, what they call lamination line or Sanmai line. Here's a blade from the company Mkusta. Move the light over here so you can see it a little better. Hold on. Let me focus. Here's a blade made in Japan. The core is VG10, and the outside, the jacket, the bread, is Damascus. You can't tell because the Damascus pattern is very tight and not deeply etched. But if you look really close, perhaps off camera, you can tell that it's actually a Damascus jacket. So you should be able to see, without even having to cut the blade in half and take a look on the inside, you should be able to see the exposed hard edge. If the jacket runs all the way down to the bottom, because they made it incorrectly, they made it wrong, then it defeats the purpose. You're cutting with a softer steel, it's not going to hold an edge right. There's really no point in encasing the entire blade in soft steel. You might as well just make the whole blade out of soft steel. So what I received was Damascus all the way down to the bottom, but they polished, Tony or his knife makers polished the bottom to remove the etching to make it appear like there was a Sanmai line, a differentiation between the folded steel and unfolded steel. They polished the bottom. So when I had it in my hands, I could tell right away that this was polished. Let me just show you the spine on this one. You can see this one's done a little better, and it's a little bit more even. You can see the softer Damascus, the harder VG10, and then softer Damascus on the bottom. So I did a video, and it received a lot of attention. And I joined, a couple of years later, I joined a knife forum, a sword forum, and there was discussion again about laminated steel. So to educate those and to create a post about Sanmai or laminated steel and how to detect a fake one from a real one, I shared my experience from the purchase that I bought from Tony from eBay. There was one individual there that defended Tony tooth and nail, putting me down, insulting my work, challenging what I knew, what made me an expert, etc., etc. One guy on my YouTube video said it best. He said he's a longtime fan, loving all things sharps. Said it best. Said that he defended Tony as if it was his little brother, and that's a pretty good line. So I was being called out, so I figured I'm going to prove that this guy is a fraud. I had a friend of mine buy this blade right away. I had him contact Tony to get confirmation again and clarification that there would be a lamination line, that the bottom half would be unfolded steel, that the top would be folded steel. He received the sword. He got the confirmation from Tony in email, sent me the sword, and what I did was I cut the katana. Right now this is wakizashi length, about 18 inches. I cut about 10 inches at the end here. I put this area here inside ferric chloride acid for a long time, and I etched it. And I saw that on the inside, it was all Damascus. Completely Damascus, 100% Damascus. A sword that Tony claimed not only in the post of the eBay, not only in the description, but also by email, that what my friend received was Sanmai. In fact, it was all Damascus. Well, I guess that guy who was defending Tony tooth and nail, like it was his little brother, well, I guess he's got egg on his face now. I guess he's the fool. Anyway, the point of this video, again, it's not about katanas and who makes them. It's not about how much I paid for it. It's not about the performance. It's about truth in advertising. It's about how to detect what a real Sanmai blade looks like. Let me show you another one. What a real Sanmai blade looks like. Here's another Mkusta with a much more dramatic Damascus jacket with the VG10 core cutting edge. This is what I expected. This is what you would expect if you were buying a katana that is claimed to be Sanmai. This is what it should look like. Now the etching, the Damascus pattern could be a little more intense, or it could be a little more subtle. The point is there's an actual distinction line, a lamination line that shows the difference, because that's what you're cutting with. Let me show you the other side. So now you know the difference between a real Sanmai and a fake one. And this is what I was expecting. This is not what you find on eBay. Tony is not the only person who sells on eBay fake laminated steel. A lot of people do that. A lot of people. The thing is that after Tony was called out, he sent me an email that he admitted that it was not Sanmai, and he was going to go back to his eBay posts and modify them and remove those that were not Sanmai. He hasn't done that. This is now a month later. He hasn't made any changes. He continues to sell the 100% Damascus blades as Sanmai. He continues to fraud the public. So the point of this vid is to educate the public and to keep the sellers, the sword sellers and sword makers honest. That's the point of this vid. Let me pan back and let me stand up. I'm on my knees. Okay. So, this part of the video is going to get a little shaky. I apologize for that. The camera's going to be a little shaky because I'm going to be holding it. So if you want additional details about Sanmai, I've made three posts on the knife forum, on the sword forum, and you're more than free to take a look at them. Try to hold the camera steady. So, yeah, I would encourage you to see the posts because I provided better pictures, a lot of pictures, not only of what real Sanmai looks like and the beauty of Sanmai, but the tests that I did, the destructive tests that I did on the katana blade, how it was done, and just additional details about the story. In addition, by the way, guys, when these eBay sellers from China tell you that it's real silk wrapping on the handle, it's not. It's fake. And many times, if not all the times, when they tell you it's an iron suba, which is more sought after, it's actually a non-magnetic type of metal or steel or brass or something. Iron would be magnetic, and the one that I had was not. It was fake as well. Okay, so because I took the katana and cut it, I decided to modify it and make it into a piece of art. Something that I would keep for me. What I did was, the part that was cut off, I shaped the tip. The tip is called a kasaki. So I shaped the tip. I had to grind the flats down because there was a lot of weight to the blade. Even for a katana, it was slightly heavy. So for a wake, it would have to be even lighter and quicker. So I reground the bevels to make them thinner. I put in a swedge on top, and there's a term for that. I'm not going to pronounce it because I'm probably going to do it wrong. Put in the swedge to lighten it up. I gave it a real geometric kasaki, a real yokite. I should put this down. I don't want this video to get too shaky. Let me hit focus again. The habaki here, the collar, is made out of aluminum. 6061 T6. It's a very strong aluminum alloy. It's a little softer than brass, but harder than copper. The sepa, which is not seen in this vid, this angle there, is, let me move this around. I think you can see it, is silver-plated brass. The guard, which is very flush to the handle, the suka. The suba has a little bit of a lip. This way you could find it when you're not looking at your hands. You could find it on both sides. It's flush here, a little bit of a lip, made out of unidirectional carbon fiber pin. And when I cut the blade, right, removing 10 inches, the sheath, or saya, the sheath was too long. So what I did was I cut out the excess. I'm holding it this way. I cut out the excess, had to plug in the hole using a piece of carbon fiber, unidirectional, and then the extra piece of the sheath was used to make the suka, the handle. Because it was a katana, it had about an 8 or 9 inch tang. So I didn't think it was necessary to remove the tang, so I kept the tang long. So I left the handle long. So now it's a two-handed wakizashi. About a 10.5 inch handle, about 18 inch blade. I thought the wood was very nice, so I kept the saya. Let me show you the carbon fiber. Let's call this, I think it's called a butt cap. There's a term for it, of course. Are you going to focus for me? There you go. Carbon fiber butt cap. The stand is made out of bamboo. Made it myself. And, well, that's it. So, on the sword forum, someone had a nice quote, which I'm going to reuse. Basically, I took a piece of shit and made a piece of art with it. The 10 and 10.5 inches that I cut off the front of the katana, I used for a tanto. There's a, I'll be uploading that vid up in a few minutes as well, maybe a few hours. So you can see that, and it came out pretty nice. Because I didn't make the blade, if he's going to be a fraud about Sanmai, he might be a fraud about the steel that he uses. I can't sell this piece. I didn't make the blade. I don't know what kind of steel it is. It does perform well. It does have a high hardness. But, you know, I was called out on it about this fraud. I was called out on it. I proved myself to be right. So this is, in a way, a trophy. I'm keeping it. All right, guys and gals. I hope this was useful. I hope you enjoyed the vid. Again, I encourage you to check out the forum posts and see pictures for yourself. If you're interested in Sanmai or Hon Sanmai or the different techniques of Japanese lamination or blade lamination. It's not only the Japanese who've done this in the past. All right, everyone. Have a good one. Bye now.